That is the great king, Almighty King of Amala, that has just held his traditional dance on the ceremony occasion of the 1st of October 2019 in Leviathan precisely. And he's still carrying that day from something that you have never witnessed before in Finland. You can see 1st of October 2019. 1st of October 2019 is Leviathan. 1st of October 2019 is Leviathan. That is the king. That is the great king. Hey! Get you and see what was to happen again.
Gentlemen, fellow Amazonians, it is about the slow but sure depletion, if not stopped. Please listen once more. This is the moment to rise up and save what remains. Like Pontius Pilate, the Vice Chancellor is fast trying to wash his hands. Amazonians, if God forbid we fail in this war, they will take back everything they have allowed us to manage. We must remain steadfast or lose the war. They sold our institutions and our resources for positions, for money, for power, and for influence. Why we fight to recover it all? We must not allow such enablers continue selling us. We must neutralize their plans, and if need be, neutralize them too. From today, we declare an end to these permanent military, gendarmes, or police checkpoints in all of Amazonian streets and roads. It is therefore incumbent upon us to stop tomorrow's murder today.
This is the state of the struggle with your anchorman Chris Anu, Amazonia's spokesperson.
Hello and welcome, Ambazonia. It's a privilege to come back to you today, this gracious day, the 12th of October, in the year of our Lord 2021. I am Chris Anu, and thanks for tuning in today, Ground Zero, and of course all of you in Ground One. Today we got so much to talk about. A lot has been going on in the past 1 week of this struggle, ladies and gentlemen, and I am hoping that we're gonna do justice to all that has happened, be it on Ground Zero or in the diaspora, diplomatically, militarily, in these short 2 hours that I bring to you today. In this broadcast, I want to welcome once more every one of you tuning in from Ground Zero, from Ground One, from Europe, continental Europe, including, of course, the United Kingdom, all of you in the USA, including Canada, South America, Asia, in China. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in by way of Facebook. Again, we're going to be having a really exciting broadcast today. And please, I appeal to you watching by way of Facebook to go ahead right now and hit your share button. Please hit your share button. In the next 5 minutes, let us make it at least 700. We're more than halfway gone. I'm talking about here on Facebook. So go ahead and hit that share button. So much to bring to you today, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that we are able to cover everything that has been going on Ground Zero. A lot taking place on Ground Zero, and today in particular was a very, very bad day. A very bad day for French Cameroon soldiers, ladies and gentlemen. From Moyoka, or precisely in the Bafia Muyenge, to Bui, to Libialem, it was a bad day, but a good harvest for Ambazonia. I'm going to be bringing you the details of what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. Please, I want to see the numbers on Facebook jumping. Go ahead, let's get the numbers jumping on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you right away here. To Banso, ladies and gentlemen. What you find on the screen, is what took place in Bui today. This took place in Bui today. And again, it doesn't look good. I am learning that over 15 French Cameroon soldiers gave way for a visit with Patrick Ekema today, just in Bui. Of course, the numbers in the BLM are also staggering from what I have learned. I'm going to be bringing you the details, but I will start with, of course, Bui, where I have a live report coming in. Also, we have learned of the attacks in Munyenge, precisely in Bafia, where 4 French Cameroon armies also visited with Patrick Ekema. And you should note this: when people visit Patrick Ekema, they never return. It's a journey of no return. So that is what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to be talking about that. Also, please, I want to see the numbers here on Facebook jumping. Please, the next 3 minutes, at least 700 people. I see almost hitting 600 now. Thank you. Keep on hitting that share button. But many other things, ladies and gentlemen, that I'll be bringing to you today. Talking about Dion Ngute's trip to both the southern zone and the northern zone. We're going to look at what that all means, ladies and gentlemen. What that all means. We're going to be talking about that. We also will be talking about the statement over the weekend by former Secretary of State for Undersecretary of State for Africa, TIBOR NAGY, when he basically told Cameroon, you are not going to win a military warfare against Ambazonia. And of course, we also saw tweets from some members of Congress, Senate actually, telling Cameroon, sending the same message to La République du Cameroon. What does it mean? If it means anything, anything at all to La République du Cameroon. Then we are also learning, ladies and gentlemen, that yet another confirmation, this time coming from Nambere, the deserted Amazonia fighter, who is once more the news that we have brought to you from here. This television said again and again that the ADF fights alongside La République du Cameroon, not alongside other Amazonia restoration fighters, but that they fight alongside La République du Cameroon. I'd like you to listen to this message here from Nambere, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to that.
If you go for the ATF, then I want to ask something. Now that you work for peace, make peace come. You know how many people with it very oil because if I'm not arrested or that time not kill you. They go kill 39 people. After I don't kill about 8 people, we're gonna kill 39 people. We're gonna go this I go kill. Never yet a minute to go attack you. No. They way this Cameroon could understand the gift for Agara inside me. They would like to respect my talk with sometimes it don't be too late. The people when they did for this same government, we try about the work with them. So that me at the end, may they can dialogue with me too, I prepare for wait them for that end. Okay, we'll go end the program for today rapidly now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that not from us. You heard that from Nambere, but again, we really don't need to convince you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we really don't need to convince you that the ADF works for La République du Cameroon. We have brought you evidence upon evidence that these guys, they are not fighting for our independence. They are fighting for a position in maybe a federal Cameroon, a federal one Cameroon, not with a free and independent southern Cameroons. Their leader has made a point previously that in this battle, ladies and gentlemen, it is not about who wins the war. It is not about who gets out La République du Cameroon. It is about who gets to Boya first. It's about who gets to Boya first. That is what they have said on a regular basis. And this evidence continued to come out again and again. A few months ago, I brought you an American lady here who used to run an NGO on the ground in Amazonia, and she confessed that through their investigations, they found out that the ADF actually get their arms supply from La République du Cameroon, and the middle person who does those negotiations is Eli Smith. Now, after, I guess, listening to Nambere in this footage here, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Commando, who has been a member, of course, a supporter of this interim government, who is also one of the leaders in Menchum County, reached out to Cho Ayaba and had a conversation with him. He is now joining me. Pastor Commando is joining me to let us know, to inform you the kind of conversation he carried out with Cho Ayaba and exactly What did Ayaba say about these accusations not only being made by us, but even by Nambere and other foreign organizations? Pastor Commando, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. Can you hear me?
Thank you very much, Secretary Chris. I'm right here.
Okay, so
Can you hear me?
yes, sir, I can hear you. Tell us, you had a conversation with Cho Ayaba, I guess, over the weekend. If I'm wrong, you correct me. And how did this conversation come about, sir?
Yeah, Secretary Chris, thank you so much. I have been hearing a lot of stories about ADF and Ayabacho, and as a pastor, I don't want to run with a hearsay. I love to go right down to the grassroots and find out from the horse's mouth what is happening. Now, I heard a very disturbing news about why Ayabacho will not cooperate with all the other stakeholders to take us to Boya. And when I heard this disturbing news, I decided to join together with all the other ones that I've been hearing to give him a chance to talk with me. So the disturbing news was that somebody who was a member of his group went to a certain shrine, and in the shrine they initiated them and made a vow that he, Ayabacho, should be the person to lead the Ambazonians back to Ambazonia, and that if he is not the person, then he's going to die, and that is the reason why every collaboration has been rejected by him if he is not the leader. So when I heard this disturbing news, I went out to find out from him, and the first question I posed to him was about the guerrilla warfare that we are fighting. Of course, in his normal and usual long, disturbing and intimidating talks, and also connected with hypnotism, he was trying to coerce me to believe that he has the biggest force in Amazonia and that they are fighting seriously. I laughed because he doesn't know me, but I think I know what they are doing more than any other person that he thinks he can deceive. And he actually got talking to me because of one of his henchmen that I spoke to some weeks ago in the person of Sama Thomas. And I asked for Ayabacho's number because after talking with Sama Thomas, he told me that he would like me to talk to Ayabacho, and I took interest. And I said, okay, give me the number. I asked him the number for Ayabacho for more than 4 times, and he never gave me the number. Finally, I got a hold of the number, and then I wrote to Ayabacho that, look, I spoke with his man, Sama Thomas, a few weeks ago, and he was very much that I should talk with him. Now, when I talked to him about the march past on the 1st of October, to cut the whole story short, and I asked him about the cars, he went mad. He started insulting and talking some kind of thing. I was like, excuse me.
About the cars that are being seen on the screen. Yeah. The trucks you have on the screen right now.
Exactly. And I said, we are in a guerrilla warfare. I don't know how guerrilla warfare will come out with cars and with munitions that are very seen, like these military cars that he is parading on the 1st of October. He insulted me. I said, I don't know anything about guerrilla warfare and strategy, that the cars are for strategy. I said, wow, strategy and La Republic is right there, and seeing you fighting the strategy, he went mad. All right, I quickly say, okay, that's all right. And then I now went to this question that I just mentioned, that I heard that he went and initiated himself and took a vow that he must be the person to take us to Boya, and one of his friends was delivered in our church, in one of our churches, and he confessed all this, and that he has an opportunity to also be delivered because the devil is deceiving him. When I
if I may cut you there, if I may ask this, because we really don't have a lot of time here, what precisely was his response about him and his fighters fighting alongside La République du Cameroun and not with the Ambazonia restoration fighters?
No, with that one, he was very mad, and I made some kind of statements that they have the largest forces and they are fighting La Republic very seriously. And I was like, where are you fighting La Republic? He says it's a tactic, guerrilla warfare that, people don't see. They are doing their little bit of where they are doing, and it is not coming out in the open. I mean, it was just mixing words, and you understand from the background that it was a way, a method, like I used to say, a kind of a seductive spirit that was trying to seduce you to believe a lie that is not a reality that can be seen on the ground. So he did not actually tell me where they are fighting, So, but then my point of interest was not where they are fighting, because I already know what is going on the ground with him. My point of interest was because he has refused collaboration with every other leader except he is the leader. And I got the story that it was this spiritual involvement where he got himself involved. And that was my point of calling him. But when I got to that point, he became even more furious that he off the phone on me. And he didn't give me the answer, because I now see that while Ayub Tabe is in the prison, he went and collaborated with Ayub Tabe, which when Ayub Tabe was out here, he refused collaboration because he was not going to take the preeminence. And now that he's in prison, he thinks that collaborating with him, he will now be the Oga in charge outside here. Those were the things I wanted to find out from him, but he got very mad and went away. I'm not saying this to condemn him, but I'm telling Ambazonians to actually sit down and see how many of our people have been killed by his squad and the game that is behind what he is doing. He is not out to take us to Ambazonia. He's out to destroy us. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you for that contribution. I want to believe that Ambazonians, they heard this again, not from me, but exactly from somebody who placed a phone call to Cho Ayaba. We are really hoping that one of these days, Cho Ayaba would come out and explain to Ambazonians why his soldiers fight on the side of La République du Cameroon and for who he is indeed fighting for. If other Ambazonian restoration forces have been seen, ladies and gentlemen, hiding in the bushes, why? I mean, how is it that the ADF, they live in mansions and they ride along in trucks like this one, ladies and gentlemen? Now there isn't only one truck there. I think there are about 2 or 3 of them that we can see. You can see. Look at that. Look at that. There are 3 trucks there. There are 3 trucks there, and those are ADF fighters in the mock October 1 celebration somewhere in the Manu, where they went force civilians out of their homes to come out and stage what you find there. Just ask yourself, if these were true Ambazonia restoration forces, would they be riding around in trucks, ladies and gentlemen, unattacked by French Cameroon soldiers? That tells a lot. That tells a lot on whose side these guys are fighting. I mean, just think about it. The grandpa in Bali will be riding in these military colored trucks. Just think about it. That no PT will be riding around Go Ketunja in those military trucks, or Isubu in Bui, or Fi Masha in the BLM, or 10 Kobo in Indian. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. But again, I hope that this again sends a strong message to every Ambazonian out there. The ADF is not fighting for a free and independent Ambazonia. They are strategizing on the side of French Cameroon. They have an alliance, an understanding, and they hope that they can pull back the efforts made by this interim government and perhaps some few others who are fighting for a free Ambazonia, so that at the end of the day, they can sit at the table of negotiations. And guess whose side they will stand on? not the side of Ambazonia, they will be on the side of La République du Cameroon. Let me say something here, ladies and gentlemen. I hear some people say that, oh, you know, all your groups must come together. I will not sit on any table with Cho Ayaba on that table unless he is speaking the same language with me. I mean, when I say me, I mean this interim government. I mean the language of a free and independent Ambazonia. We will not sit on that table until we see proofs that they are doing the same thing. They are fighting the same fight that we fight here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things have been also happening at the weekend. Now, many of you have listened to this gentleman. They call him Osme, is it Osman May or something like that? I will bring you the name later on, but he has said quite a number of things, ladies and gentlemen, over the weekend, in which left chills running down the spines of people, especially in La République du Cameroon, talking about a possible insurrection from the north of that country. And there is somebody out there who has been trying to bring us some insight into what all this is about. Now, I want you to know there is nothing strange about what this French Cameroon politician is telling us out there. Nothing strange about it at all. All that we know, and we have known it for a while, is that there is a coming civil war in French Cameroon. That we know. We have known about it for years now. So what this guy is saying isn't really strange to us. What is strange to us is the boldness with which he puts it in the eyes, what they call speaking truth to power. That is what this guy did. Is it Omaru, Osme, or May, something? I will let my guests bring the names out. But he, over the weekend, told French Cameroon authorities point blank to their face to prepare for war at the exit of Port Beer. And my next guest, whom I'm bringing on ABC for the very first time, has written something which is making the rounds on the social media. Let me read a little part of it to your hearing. Now he says, I have always said of the time bomb in La République du Cameroon, it's boiling and garnering some pressure that will turn into energy. And once that energy chimes in with synergy, the conflagration will not just be enormous, it will be catastrophic. I see clearly the Grand North Alliance with the West, including the littoral, cooperating to hem in the Grand South, referring to the Central, the South, and the East regions. He continues, the Grand North, West, and Littoral Alliance will attempt to factor in Ambazonia if the latter is not fully independent by the ousting of Biya by death or otherwise. The populace has been very uneasy and hurting in the prolonged socio-political economic quagmire perpetrated by Biyaism for almost 4 decades. The disquieting mass factor will only support a regime change in support of the aforementioned alliance. He said the division is eloquently cited, namely 3 camps in the Beti Bulu confusion. Ingo, Frank, and Asumu camps will further exacerbate the division in the Beti Bulu power brokers and fuel the support and victory of that alliance. I will bring you my guest here, ladies and gentlemen, who has written this interesting piece and which he recently updated it. I am talking about no one else but Comrade Oliver Asai. Comrade Oliver Asai. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you on ABC, my guest for the first time, sir. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Can you hear me well?
All right. Again, you wrote a very articulate and eloquent piece there about the conversation by this gentleman from the north, who I understand he happens to be a family friend to the late Ahijos. And for the first time in Northeast is coming out making these blunt statements promising a civil war in La République du Cameroon. First of all, comrade, I would like you to give us an interpretation of what this man is saying here. Let me play a little bit of what he is saying. He is speaking in French, and then I will allow you to give us a little paraphrase of what this man was saying. For the benefit of those who do not understand French, I will allow you to do a little paraphrase of what he said to the understanding of our audience. Please listen.
Je m'en voudrais de vous laisser partir de ce plateau sans avoir le sens exact de cette métaphore que vous avez répétée au moins ça 2 fois ici. Vous avez dit, on va mettre du nucléaire dans nos 2 réacteurs. Cette métaphore renvoie à quoi? Est-ce qu'on peut savoir ce que vous voulez dire exactement? Pour parler des solutions, peut-être j'ai failli emprunter à l'histoire avec la solution finale à la veille de la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Vous voulez faire allusion à quoi exactement?
Alors, depuis un certain temps, vous constaterez comme nous qu'il y a des pôles politiques sous-jacents. On ne va pas contourner les choses. On parle de franquistes. Vous êtes au courant au moins?
Et des fernandistes.
Bah. Vous avez des réseaux. Alors, dans une série de réseaux, on dit non, ça c'est le réseau d'un Ngongo. Ah bon, ça c'est le Ngongo, oui, mais là ça doit être Motazé. Ça. Donc, on les regarde, on les observe. L'objectif c'est quoi? Le projet c'est quoi, comme on dit? C'est gouverner encore après bien. C'est ça? Et vous pensez donc que nous on va s'asseoir là et manger des cacahuètes?
Ah, et donc vous voulez ressusciter cette déclaration du ministre Amadou Ali,
oui,
repris par les câbles de Wikileaks en 2011, qui disait tant que le président Biya est là, nous, dans le...
All right. I understand that many of you out there may not understand French, and so I will allow my guest to tell us, give us a little paraphrase of what Osman, is it Osmano or something like that? Please forgive me. I allow my guest to pronounce that name. Comrade Oliver, ladies and gentlemen, is a constitutional student, legal student, and also an artist. In fact, he combines a lot of portfolios within his single personality. Comrade Oliver, thank you for joining me on the set here, sir.
My pleasure. Can you hear me well?
I can hear you 5 on 5. So please.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Thank you. Please go ahead. First of all, give us a little insight into what this francophone guy is saying to the reporters.
Yeah, actually, Ousmane Oumé is the son of a confidant and a very close collaborator of Amadou Ahidjo. So he's speaking from a position of strength. And one thing that, before I dive into exactly what he's saying, is that the Ambazonia revolution has brought certain results in La République, which are where you have people that can now speak with a little bit of freedom and nothing will happen to them. And that's what is pushing Ousmane Oumé to speak the way he's speaking, because nobody will touch him at this time. Well, what he's saying over there is that Before that, there was an understanding between Paul Biya and, or rather, Ahijus Kam and Biya's Kam, that after Paul Biya, the next president of the La Republique will have to come from the north again. And so he's standing on that mountain and broadcasting that reminder in a hidden manner. So what he's saying is that there are three camps in Paul Biya's government right now. You have one camp belonging to Ferdinand Ngongo, another one belonging to Frank Biya, and another one is belonging to Mutaze. So those are the three camps of the three Bulu camps. And he says that there is something that is cooking and has been cooking for a long time, that they are preparing while Biya is still in power, so that when Biya is no longer there, they will conquer and run La Republique again. So he said he is not going to let that happen. The North will not let that happen, because power will have to go back to the North. And therefore, he goes ahead and says that apparently they may need an alliance with the South or the West. And that's why he mentions Kamtu.
Ça fait plaisir
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, okay. So he mentions Kamtu as a very viable force that they can have an alliance with. And then in La Republique, there are basically two sectors, geopolitical sectors. You have the Grand North and the Grand South. So the Grand North is all those the three northern provinces, Adamawa, North, and the Far North province, and the rest of La Republique is considered to be the Grand South, including, interestingly, Southern Cameroon or Ambazonia, which was a nation on its own. So they bonded that up with the rest of the South. And then they believe that if power shifts from the North to the South, from the North, it was in the North, it has to shift back to the South. And when it comes to the South, they believe that the president that will come from the South cannot come from Ambazonia. And of course, we realized that in 1992, when Frundi won the elections, France made sure that Paul Biya did not let him become president, because they don't consider Ambazonia as people that can be able to be president in Cameroon. So when they talk about the Grand South, they exclude in power sharing Ambazonia. So that's essentially what he's saying. And he says that they will not sit around and eat the crumbs. They are going to express themselves, meaning they will take action and make sure that power goes back to the North. And in order to do that, if that is not easy enough, they will create alliance with the West. And that's why he mentions Kamtu, and he also mentions two other names, Kabri, as well as Madame Patricia from Fumba. So that is the kind of alliance that he is talking about. And I think he thinks that when Biya is no longer there, the North is going to take power. And that's why the journalists made allusion to the other leader from the North back in 2011, when he said that so long as Biya is in power, they will support him. But when he's no longer there, power goes back to the North. That's essentially what he's saying. I can come back to now shed more light on that. Yes.
Yes. Now, you have mentioned somewhere that it is in this light that an alliance between Kamto and some people call it prison yard government, some people call it KIG, that it is now we see the importance of the alliance between Kamto and the KIG. Can you throw a little more light on how that makes it interesting?
You say the KIG?
Yes, Kondenge IG as some call it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that becomes a very if someone was doubting why Maurice Kamto will want to go into alliance with Ayob Tabe, you understand why very clearly. after listening to Osman Ume, because Maurice Kamto understands that the problem of Amazonia is very cancerous, and that in order for him to really go ahead and do some great works and eventually possibly becoming the leader or the president of La Republique, he needs the Amazonians. Let me say a few points on that. Why does he need Amazonia? Amazonia is such a viable country that with a lot of economic resources, contributing over 50% of the GDP in Cameroon. So he needs those resources in order to run Cameroon. Now, he knows that with the resistance, and the kind of discipline that Amazonians have displayed over the past close to 5 years, he knows that those are the kind of people that he can trust, that can support. If they stand behind him, every other person will follow that example. For instance, you see that when after the presidential elections, where Maurice Kamto claimed that he won the elections, his own supporters tried in Douala and Yaoundé to mobilize and protest, and they were just crushed and they went back home, and a lot of them were arrested and put in prison. That does not happen in Amazonia. These are people who are resilient. They resist and they persist until they get to where they want to go. So he's seen that kind of advantage, and that's why he wants to strike that alliance. First, economic resources. Secondly, people he can rely on that can be able to stand their ground and never give up. And then because of that, he can now probably begin to negotiate with the North, as now that Osman Ume is already seeing him as a viable partner. And Osman Ume said in the statement, and listen to this very clearly. He said that he does not mean that Maurice Kamto will be in the position or the place of Paul Biya, but he is a very viable force to reckon with. That is to say that in that alliance, Osman Ume does not see Kamto as a potential president of La Republique, but he can take any other position because the presidency has to go to the North. If you begin to listen, read between the lines and analyze, you see the kind of marginalization already within La Republique in this potential Grand North and Grand South alliance.
Now, what is very critical in this arrangement that we are hearing from the Northeast is that, let's assume for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, that Amazonia was going to be part of La Republique du Cameroun as they want. There is no future for Amazonia, Southern Cameroonians, in any arrangement in La Republique du Cameroun, be it with the Northeast or with the Southerners. I mean, referring to the Central, the Littoral, and the rest, isn't it?
Exactly that. And that's why, to analyze it further, where does Amazonia feature in this imbroglio? One, the key thing is Amazonia needs to have her independence done now, so that when Paul Biya is no longer there and there's pandemonium over there, and Amazonia is really secured, he has nothing to do with that. Those are foreigners, and that would be the best choice, the best way to go for Amazonia. Now, there is a backup plan, which is very dangerous for Amazonians. If Amazonians do not get their full, complete independence and get to Boya before this war that is boiling in La Republique comes up to happen, now, when it starts happening, Amazonia can now step in and secure the boundaries at that time. Now, the reason being that... How can
Amazonia do that if assuming Amazonia is not ready to do that? Because it takes equipment and money to do that.
I will get to that point. Now, so in order to do that, to secure that one, because when you have that alliance between the Grand North and the Grand South, let's put Ambazonia on the side for now. When you have that and there's a war going on, they will not want to fight a war on two fronts. They will have to focus on La République and make sure they secure that position as president, and then against the Bulu-Beti alliance. The Bulu-Beti alliance, with these three camps there, it becomes difficult for them to close ranks to fight against that Grand North and the South alliance, which means that the alliance between Kamto and the Grand North can easily gain ground, and they will secure the presidency in Cameroon and take over. Now, once that is happening, Ambazonia need to secure its boundaries. And how can Ambazonia secure its boundaries? That is not talk that we talk on television. It is talk
Absolutely.
that we discuss in strategy sessions. So I cannot say anything about that right now.
Yeah, I was always making that rhetorical question to suggest that for us to be able to take over our borders, there need to be money, there need to be equipment. We cannot take over our borders or man our borders with AKs. It is not possible. We need to man those borders with RPGs, and that means money. And I really want to hope that Ambazonians, they are listening to us out there, because it is going to take money. And yes, taking our borders, manning our borders, before then becomes a necessity. I know that La République is listening to us here right now, but quickly, before I get to the next subject, what should Ambazonians be doing now? Listening to strategy like this, Osman May, the guy that we heard from, this guy, I don't know whether he is still minister in La République du Cameroon, but at least I know he was minister. I don't know whether he is still minister. He is not. Okay. But what would you say Ambazonians should be doing now? Especially when we know this thing is a matter of when. We know it is coming. We know the Grand North, they are getting ready. And the Bulus and the Betis and the Bamilekis, they are preparing for that moment. What should Ambazonians be doing now besides putting money down for us to procure the equipment that enables us to man our borders?
Yeah, there are three things that we can do. One, make sure that we have the economic capital. Every Ambazonian should be drafting, and drafting seriously and on a consistent and persistent basis. Number two, our diplomatic mission needs to step up very quickly, because the diplomatic aspect of independence is very key. So that one can be elaborated more in the strategy sessions. Number three, we understand the various factions in Ambazonia. The faction that we realize that is working, is enabling La République, they have to keep them on the sidelines, and the rest of the factions need to close ranks and make sure that we are not duplicating our effort, so that there's no duplicity in what we are doing, so that will help us to focus and be able to gain more grounds. I think those three things are the ideas that Ambazonians should be doing right now, and a lot of it, this is a skeleton. We can now go into details in the strategy sessions to develop on that.
All right. Thank you. Please, I'd like you just stay put in there. I will get you to join the bigger panel eventually. Just stay in there. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you over to the big news of the day. The big news of the day. Today we'll learn of ladies. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, to shut down this phone here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for that mixed up there. I take you to the big news of the day. La République du Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen, had a very, very bad day. A very, very bad day. On their side, we have learned that at least 45 French Cameroon soldiers were today, Tuesday, October the 12th, sent to visit with Patrick Ekema in Moyoka, in Bui, and in Libialem. We do not have the details from Moyoka. We will need to get those details. But what we have learned in Libialem is that today at around midday Amber time, ladies and gentlemen, the French Cameroon army, I guess they were about doing an exchange of their troops. Somewhere, however, at a little village called Belua, in the direction of NAGY, the Red Dragons ambushed them. We are told they were like 80 in number. And the Red Dragons had been lying in wait. And when the French Cameroon army got within the ambush target, Les Français took over. 3 Les Français were unleashed on the French Cameroon army. We cannot give you authoritative numbers, but according to informants from the source, at least, or I meant to say over 20 French Cameroon armies died in the BLM today. And the dragons, they are all safe. But not only that, in Bui, the Bui warriors, we have learned, also brought down over 15 French Cameroon soldiers. In fact, we have some footages coming from Bui. It is not so clear. We can see some action there, but we really cannot see the casualties. But at least that is what took place there. Listen to that.
Another terrorist than that. Today, 12 October 2021. They're there with the Air Force, see how they shoot the run. They're there with the Air Force, see how they shoot the run. They waste their time. They will confirm when I hear for our skin. When I hear for our skin. When I meet them. When I hear for our skin. The Air Force than that. The Air Force that. The Air Force that. The Air Force that they demonstrate with them for some. The Air Force that. Ekelebe una no get no thing when I feel I do am for boy. Now lie. Now the Air Force that.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that again took place in the Bui County, and that's the action coming from the Bui warriors. And on my screen, those are the Red Dragons. Again, they left a blue on the French Cameroon army. At least 20 French Cameroon army were sent to visit with Patrick Ekema today in Libialem, ladies and gentlemen. I am joined by a comrade who has been covering, ladies and gentlemen, Bui for quite a long time, and he has updates of what happened in Bui today. Hello, comrade.
Good evening, Secretary Chris, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure having you. Please tell us what went on in Bui today. We know that in the aftermath of the visit of colonial French Cameroon Prime Minister, there were some burnings in the Bui. But the Bui warriors, as you can find on your screen, you can see the burning of homes in Bui. But today the Bui warriors retaliated in a severe way that French Cameroon will not forget. Please tell us what happened in Bui today.
Thank you for that question, Secretary Chris. What actually happened in Bui today is a repeat of what happened a fortnight ago. The same place, the same village, and the same area. A fortnight ago, when we saw the military that assembled in the border village called Babisi in Gogetunja. That military that came immediately after Betty Asombo held a meeting about the change of strategy in Amazonia. Now, when they left Babisi, the next village they were to get into was in Bui, and that is Wainama, which is about 2 kilometers away. But they met their doom in what we refer to that battle as the 3-day battle. We all heard what happened during that period 2 weeks ago. Now, the battle, coming back to your question of what happened today, this battle did not start today. It started again yesterday, where the Bui warriors ambushed La Republique truck that was coming again from Babisi. And La Republique truck, they were in about 7 vehicles, and 9 left from Kumbu early in the morning to accompany them to Kumbu. But the Bui warriors of Zekwa South ambushed them in Wainama. And it took them about 7 hours to cover a distance of less than 20 minutes to come to a village called Nkar. Nkar is a village immediately after Jakiri if you are coming from Bamenda, and it's just about 2 kilometers away. While Nkar, the Bui warriors of Zekwa West, they came out and again gave them another blow at Bonaberi, a village, a quarter called Bonaberi in Kar. And they had a serious fight there. They exchanged guns, so they succeeded. One armor car was blown down, and the military succeeded to tow it back to the Gendarmerie, which was just about 1 kilometer away. Now they tried to continue their journey to Kumbu. Unfortunately for the Bui warriors yesterday, 2 informants called the military while Ankar, alerting them that the warriors were at SOP waiting for them. So they stood between Nkar and SOP for about 3 hours while the warriors were waiting for them, and they were waiting as well for the warriors to disappear. After 3 hours, they took a U-turn yesterday back to Nkar, where they decided to spend a night there with the hope of traveling at night. But their informant kept giving them information that the Bui warriors were still there. So the warriors spent the night at SOP and then decided to play a fast one by changing their position during the day. And that is when the informant told them that the Bui warriors had left. So they left Nkar, and just after 2 kilometers, there was another standoff between them and the Bui warriors, what you have just shown on the screen. We heard the general who led the battle. He came all the way from Kumbu East, and he joined the Zekwa general, and they were all there together with some of their collaborators from other barracks, from other Bui warriors barracks. Now you could hear even from the commentary as the general himself was saying that those in the machine gun they have attacked, and those who came round to shoot at the Bui warriors started running back when their colleagues were brought down. They started running back to their vehicles for safety. That's in a nutshell what happened in what we are calling today a 2-day battle.
Now, tell us, what do we know of the casualties?
To be honest with you, the only number from an eyewitness who said today, the casualty for today was only 7 from what they saw immediately. But The number that we are reading online about 15 is from the casualties of yesterday, not today, which is the one at Wainama and Nkara.
Okay.
Today, the ones that we saw that were shot, that were dead from our eyewitness, they said 7 and not 15.
So the 15 were from yesterday. So if we add today, we are talking about 22.
If you look at the screenshots of those circulating the number of 15, it will tell you that it was on the 11th of October, not the 12th. What I am reporting today is what I got, which was 7 in number, from at least 7 eyewitnesses.
Now tell us, what do you know of the village that was burned? Do we know how many homes were burned by the French Cameroon army?
To say what I know, it's a village I know very well. I have relatives there, I have worked there, and Kikaikom is just about 7 kilometers from the main town in Kumbu and about maybe 4 to 5 kilometers from Tobin, the colonial administrative headquarters. So far from the houses that we have on record that we are counted and sent to us on pictures, not the ones that we hear that we haven't, people have not been able to see, because there are some who are even coming back home and they are seeing their houses burned. So far we have about 35 houses burned down.
Wow, 35. Now, do we have an idea the number of French Cameroon troops on the ground there?
The number fluctuates. I will be honest with you. Only the number that went to Kikaikom, that the village that was burned down. Don't forget that they left Kikaikom after spending 2 days and went to Kikaikelaki the 3rd day. Kikaikelaki is the village of late Cardinal Tume of blessed memory, and they also burnt 3 houses in Kikaikelaki. So concerning the number of military that we still have in, are you talking about Kumbu or Bui in general, to be sure of what you are asking?
I would say Bui in general.
Concerning the military that in Bui, our coordinator Pononi LGA told us specifically that we have about 115 military still stationed there after the extra left. In Oku, we got about 6 extra trucks that came in, and if you can imagine that about 17 to 19 people are usually on the bigger one, then you can do the calculations times 6. In Kumbu, with the convoy that came in today in 9 trucks and 6 pickups, and they are coming to add to the 10 that came last week. In Jakir, in Muvun, which is Mbiami, is the capital. Last week we also had this. Last week we also had a battle there where about 4 La Republique military forces were killed by our forces there. They had about 8 trucks that came through the western region from a village called Lib. So if you put all these together, and then we have another LGA which is called Nkum, and that is with the capital being Tatum. We had other militaries that came through Ndonga Bantum from a village called Lu, where about 3 to 5 houses were also burnt down last week. And then talking about Jakiri itself, there is a school called, which is the LGA, there is a school called veterinary school where they are stationed. I got information today that those that were stationed where they were staying as a military base there, they are those who joined the trucks that came to Kumbu. So in a nutshell, we should be having about 500 to 600 military extra. That means those that are not based, but those that came purposely since October 1st and are still there, and they will only start reducing them by the end of the month to go start preparing for their Nations Cup.
All right. Thank you for that detailed report. Please stay on top of the information, and I will get back to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. All right. Okay, that was our correspondent, ladies and gentlemen, reporting on the events in Bowie County with the Bowie warriors, who are doing a fabulous job defending their territory and defending a free and independent Ambazonia. Now, I want to take you now to another subject, a critical one, of course, of the day, and I would like to start with this piece of information here. I mean, this clip, this footage. I'd like you to stay put. Now, you will all recall that last week, Dion Ngute, the colonial prime minister of La République du Cameroon, ended his parades in the southern zone and in the northern zone. He came visiting, according to information from his office, to explain to the people of both zones the progress made so far in relation to the so-called special status. And he went to Tico, went to Boya, went to Victoria, and then ended in Bamenda. Quite a number of things happened in these two places. Did he actually succeed to persuade the people in both zones that special status is taking place, is happening? Now, I got a powerful panel here that is going to be looking into that. But before I get to them, I want you to listen to this lady who was one of those who accompanied Dion Ngute to Bamenda. Listen to her.
He just, reiterated some of the points that we have been making, that we needed to be truthful and frank to these young people. We need to tell them the truth. They will never have a southern Cameroon. Never. So the sooner they understand that the government has given us regional assemblies, which within that, the special status as well, that we can use to reinforce our region, to do the things that we would love to have in our region. We should take that and run with it, instead of staying away in the bushes. This is, of course, he just, reiterated some of the points that we have been making, that we needed to be truthful and frank to these young people. We need to tell them the truth. They will never have a southern Cameroon. Never. So this.
We need to tell them the truth, according to this lady, ladies and gentlemen, that there will never be a free and independent southern Cameroon. That is coming from, I don't know the other name. All I know is that she is the daughter of 1 Kilo in the northern zone. But this is one of those lackeys from La République du Cameroon, a slave Ambazonian, promising that there will never be a free and independent Ambazonia. And that was the message, ladies and gentlemen, that John Ngute took to Boya and took to Bamenda. He said he met with different delegations in the southern zone and northern zone, and in the northern zone he promised them the ring road. Once more, the ring road. I don't know what will happen when this card or the ring road finally gets off the table. I don't know what they will use. Are they not ashamed that every time they come visiting to Bamenda, it is all about the ring road, all about the ring road? Do they think we are fools, ladies and gentlemen? I don't care they come tomorrow and tar that road. For how long will they keep promising the ring road, the ring road, the ring road? John Ngute, for one, should be ashamed of himself. This is a man whose county produces the wealth that runs Cameroon, and there is no road, no single road to that town, ladies and gentlemen. And he thinks he can come around and placate us with a ring road every time, all the way from the time of Achidi Achu. No, let me start from Issa Hayatu, Paul Biya's first prime minister, Hayatu. He promised us the ring road. Achidi Achu came and promised the ring road. Peter Musonge came and promised the ring road. Ephraim Inone came and promised us the ring road. Philemon Yang, he came and he promised the ring road. How about John Gute now? He is promising the ring road. How many decades gone with promises upon promises upon promises, and there is not even a road into Bamenda from Bafoussam. And yet they keep talking about a ring road. Ladies and gentlemen, we must not be fooled. We must not be fooled. Let them come tomorrow and tar Bamenda Bafoussam road. We don't care. We are gone, and we are gone forever. When we take back our country, we will build our roads in less than no time. In La Republic, we know. La Republic, we know. We had the money. We have the resources to build those roads, not waiting for them forever. To build that seaport, not waiting for them forever. I am joined, ladies and gentlemen, by a very powerful panel here of Barrister Tim Mbisa. I also have Barrister John Frunso with me, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Dr. Martin Mongwa is also joining me. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. And of course, Comrade Oliver H.T. here. Dr. Mongwa, let me start with you, please. Let me start with you. Dion Ngute descends on Bamenda, preaching peace, but before he leaves, Bui is coming down. The homes, the villages are coming down, razed down by French Cameroon soldiers. What an irony! How do you explain this, sir?
Thank you, Cristiano. Good afternoon to
Thank you.
other panelists. I think it's really an irony, and it actually points to a very fundamental fact that Mr. Ngute has no powers whatsoever. He's been stripped of every power that can make any difference in the war we have, or even in the economy of Cameroon. I would have expected that a prime minister coming to Bamenda will propose or will submit a huge economic plan that everybody will look and say, yes, these people are thinking. They seem to be looking backwards all the time. You are talking about the ring road. When I was in Form 2, a very long time ago, I can't even remember when, somebody came and talked to us about the ring road. And it is even, if it is not just sheer stupidity, how can you use that sort of example for over 50 years and hoping that people will listen to you? Dion Ngute knows the history of Southern Cameroon more than anyone else. He knows very well that La Republique has been doing what they call asset stripping. And let me explain this to you. It means that it is a practice of selling a company's assets, hopefully in order to improve on the returns. But normally they do that in order to pay the debts of that company. But what does La Republique do? They take the money, and instead of investing it, or instead of paying out debts, they share it with their fellow countrymen. And in the process, we take on more debt and we go down the drain. And that has been the practice with CDC, WADA, PWD, CAMBAG, PMO, PowerCamp, even the umbrella company, the factory, the Muselele, Santa Coffee, Toleti, Tico Airport, and Tico Seaport. And that's what they've been doing systematically. You take PWD Bamenda. PWD Bamenda has what we'll normally say civic responsibility. The work that PWD did in Bamenda and the Northwest Province is what made me decide to become a civil engineer. Because as a young man, a boy, not even a young man, I was about 3-4 years old when I went to Bamenda. I saw the tarred roads. I asked my father, "What is this?" He said, "These roads are tarred." I said, "Who did stuff like this?" He said, "Engineers." On that day, I think late 1969 or 1970, I decided to engineer. And that tells you the sort of spirit that we had in West Cameroon. But what did Ahijo do? He came and stripped us away from all those assets. First, they created something called Parc National, which is like civil engineering depot. And after that, they came and took all the equipment. And because these people had no technical expertise, they had no maintenance culture, they didn't understand supply chain. Whenever the machines broke down, they just abandoned. And they've done that systematically over the years. Go to Yoke, they took parts of the turbine, took them away. Go to PowerCam or wherever they were, they took every essential piece of equipment. And today, all they have in return is to tell us that, well, they are going to give us a ring road. First of all, they don't even have the expertise to do it. Because when you take the Inugu Bamenda Road, it was not done by Cameroon. The package was put together by citizens of Cross River State because they wanted the road to go through Cross River. And that's the advantage we took. Otherwise, La Republic wouldn't have cared if that road went through Garwa, Marwa, somewhere into Nigeria. But they can't telling us all these lies over and over again. And we have to go and find out by peeling the onion to get to the crux of the matter. So this is such an embarrassment. If anybody is listening to Diongute as some sort of the messiah who is going to improve on the north and the southwest regions, then you have a mental problem.
Barrister John, I'll let you come in here and give us your take on this Dion Ngute's trip to the southern and the northern zones.
Thank you, Secretary Chris. I'd like to note that before Dion Ngute came to Bamenda, he had been to the southern zone.
Right.
Immediately after the southern zone, he took off for Geneva in the secrecy of the night, then came back and went to Bamenda. Where he arrived, he was greeted by our warriors in Santa to indicate that he was in a war zone. And he got to Bamenda, and the Bamenda people being what they are, they did not fight back. Because if you look, I'm from that town. I was born and bred in that town. If you look, everywhere was surrounded by the army, and most of the population that you saw there came from the Western Province. Of course, the few CPDM enablers were there. And John Gote, I don't know what his mission to Bamenda was. But this issue of ring road, what has the ring road done to these people? Leave the ring road alone. Even when I was a kid, I heard a Ijo regime talk about the building of the ring road, which never happened. There came every year, every time.
Every election.
Election, they use the ring road. Come on, man. These people have nothing. The Ambazonian Restoration Forces have made us proud by cutting off the live wire, anything that can give these people any money. The only thing that we have not been able to do is to stop the crude oil flow that is giving them money. The people are broke. They cannot even finance the war. And they come and a man like John Gote, after having been shaken in Santa, that's Matazem, he comes down to town and talks about ring road, like all of them. But that is visit, Secretary Chris. I want to indicate 4 words that he used, and he used them in a very technical way. You know, he's a lawyer, just like my senior barrister Mbessa and myself. Even though he's not licensed, he has never been licensed to practice in any bar, but at least he has a terminal degree in law. Can you imagine? He used the word your territory.
And he also used the word independence.
They went, now I'm coming. President Bia don't send me for tell when I say more, when I take back when I territory, when I take back when I independence, when I sovereignty. And then he was gasping for words. Somebody threw another word. He said, your dignity. That is the most important take I have. The Holy Spirit got hold of this man and he spoke the truth for once. Look, that Aisha Kilo that you saw like that, I know her very well. She had been a teacher in University of Oya and was made what do they call them, Secretary of State or whatever. On what leg is she standing on? Can she where she is now as a son of Nso from Tobin? Can she drive her car into Kumbu right now as we speak? And he comes and says that you will never have Southern Cameroon. Is she standing on what leg? Let her go back to La Republic of Cameroon. She was protected by the soldiers to come to Bamenda for the first time. Let her go back. She doesn't have anything to say. We have had our independence. We have restored our independence. Whether Kilo, Diongote, and the rest of it, and rest of the Neblers, they want it or not, they have seen by themselves. The delegations that went to see them, they told them that the only solution is to negotiate. The only solution is let's have our country back. These are CPDM people from the Northwest telling them that. We have all that information. But what does it do to, or what does it translate to? He made a secret journey to Switzerland. And, and let me see where they will advance to. Yes, today they've lost 45. Tomorrow they may be losing 100. We will continue to fight. We will continue to shoot them. Anything, any symbol of La Republic of Cameroon on our territory should be down.
Barrister John, let me get to Barrister Tim Beisa. And the question will be, do Dion Ngute need to go down to Bamenda for consultations or to tell the people that this is what they are doing? Because I think, or to hear what the people want, knowing that they know exactly for the past 4 years what the people want. Did he really need to go down to any place for that?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. I think that's the core of the problem. Now, let us start from the start. Who is John Gute? By his official title, is the Prime Minister, head of government, and is coming as a spokesperson for the president. According to him, he's coming to explain the resolutions of the Ghana National Dialogue, not resolutions, but a National Dialogue book with recommendations given to the government, headed by Dion Gute, who was coming to explain. But throughout the 3 days or whatever length of time, did he explain anything?
No.
Dion Gute explained nothing. All what he did was receive delegations. But let us remember, this is his second trip since becoming Prime Minister to Bamenda and to Boya. What has changed? Among the recommendations they gave them at the Ghana National Dialogue was the ring road, one of the causes of the revolution. That's their talking points. When they go to Boya, the southern zone, they talk about the deep sea port. When they go to the north, they talk about the ring road. Them and all of us will be reminded that the Ambazonian problem is not about the deep sea port in Victoria or not. It is not about the ring road in Bamenda. What is a ring road in the first place? A road. Probably they don't know that as we speak. There's a highway that runs from Abidjan to Accra. That's a road. But these are two different countries. There's a road that runs through Bamenda, Manfe to Nigeria. That's a highway. What does that make a difference? So, when Mr. Dion Gute goes there, I received the same delegation. Some people can tell, give us the Savannah province. Some people want to be classified. What has that got to do? War. He delivered nothing. He had nothing to deliver. Us. Forget about the men coming there. That's Mr. I see Mr. Philemon Young presenting him something. Where's Philemon Young coming from? He's coming from Yaoundé with him. He brings his own people who will receive him. They present him gifts, which they bought somewhere. Come before the stage, make utterances,
Oh my goodness.
and then they enter their armor cars and go back to Yaoundé. I think that's the most stupid thing that any man can think. I would have imagined that John Gute at his physical age is at least an old man, at least of our age. He should have some common reasoning faculties. That's the most stupid man. That's the most stupid thing a Roman man would do, at least of his own learning. How do you go there to explain the resolutions, to explain the recommendations that were given to you? People should be coming to you to hear what recommendations were given, because they were recommendations to you people, not to the people in Bamenda or Boya. Then instead, you are going to hear from them about recommendations of your own conference that you convene. They made recommendations and gave to you. You cannot implement them. You go asking them, what do you want? When did they know that? How did they know that? Who told them that the program of the Northwest, for example, is the construction of a road from Bamenda to Sareva? that play more than there.
But
Who
that's
told, is that the cause of the war? No, absolutely nothing. So this people, I think they have run out of whatever thing they have.
When you listen to, let me stop you a little bit there. When you listen to this Chinje lady, this professor talking about the aftermath of the visit of Dion Gute to Bamenda, oversee RTV, she says everything that they promise with a special status has already been rendered. In fact, she said it's unfortunate that many people don't even know it. Let me get to Comrade Oliver, please. What's your take on that?
Well, Secretary Chris, it makes me laugh. It's like a little child's play, because if you do, great things are known. They are known when they feel it. You don't have to tell anybody. You feel it. So if there were any resolutions that were made in order to make those changes in Amazonia, the so-called special status, the people will be feeling it, right? You don't have to even say that people don't know anymore. They will feel it. So even the so-called special status, I have not seen anything that has been done in that regard. But I would like us to really refocus, because we have, in this Amazonian revolution, we have a common enemy, which is La République du Cameroon. And we have enablers who are our own brothers and sisters.
And these are some of the enablers you see right there on the screen.
Yes, these are some of them. And there's something I want to draw our attention to that. Even those enablers, whether it's the Prime Minister, Dion Gute, Kilo, or any of those other ones, La République does not believe them, even though it does not believe whatever they say. What La République uses as a strategy, that's my friend right there. It uses as a strategy is to use Ambazonians, to talk to Ambazonians, to try to divert the attention and try to make them think that we can never achieve Ambazonia as an independent country. So when they try that strategy, they themselves not even believing that even those Ambazonians that they are using as enablers will be able to succeed, because they don't believe them. Because they have never, once they go back to Yaoundé, they are still always considered as outsiders. They are never part of the Republic. They are only as agents that are used to manipulate and downplay everything that happens in Amazonia. So our own duty as the regular Ambazonians that are authentic is to ignore these enablers and focus on the common enemy, which is La Republique. Because if we focus our attention so much on the enablers, we end up fighting a war on two fronts. Because these enablers will be the first people to run to Ambazonia for safety when we get to Boya. We already know that. So let's focus on the common enemy, develop our strategy, step up our game.
I think while focusing on, I agree with you. However, while focusing on the common enemy, we should not forget that there are facilitators on our side who are facilitating what our common enemy is doing, and these people we are talking about are those facilitators. We cannot by any means divide them from La République du Cameroon. But let me get to the other speakers here. Dion Gute did not only mention the word independent. Some people, as Barrister Mbesa has said, think that it was inadvertently mentioned. But he also mentioned our territorial integrity or something like that. But then, if all those things were errors, how about the umbrella? Was the umbrella an error also? Let me start with Dr. Mungwa, please.
I mean, it simply tells you that that band that came from, it's just a circus. I don't think they have any coherence in what they're doing because they're totally confused. As one of the panelists said earlier, they run out of ideas and they say whatever comes out of their mouth. And I'm in total agreement that what happened to the Prime Minister in Matezam was actually the Holy Spirit descended upon him. And when he saw himself very close to death, truth came to his heart. And by the time he reached Abakwa, he knew exactly what the people wanted. It's very clear from that. And I mean, it is, as Mr. Mbesi said, I mean, you can't imagine that people with such educational background and people with so much, I mean, you call them paper diplomas. I mean, we hope that there's some relationship between what the diploma you have and what you can think, your capacity to think. But to treat us as if we're in kindergarten, I'm telling you, it's just very, very disappointing. You have a government that has no idea as to what are the variables that bring a good economy, such that everybody sees. You talk about consumer spending, investments, government spending on net exports. What have they done in any of these areas to prove that there has been a change in the economic status of Southern Cameroon? None of it. We have very low consumer spending means that you don't have jobs, labor is low, and that's the only thing that brings a value to any economy. It's labor, because only labor that transforms materials from raw materials to finished goods, and therefore commands a higher price. They don't even go to such nitty-gritty to make the ordinary person understand that, look, when we talk about the economy, we know what the prime movers of the economy is. You are talking about investment. What investments have they done? Instead, they're doing asset stripping. You would imagine that they will get new machinery for the CDC. They will get make sure that the old ones that don't perform, retire them, and so on and so on. Improve on it. Nothing. What they do, they sell their assets, they take the money and they split between themselves, and they come back and they shed crocodile tears. What sort of economy is that? What is that government spending, so that you can see, okay, this is what government is spending in order to improve on the lives of the local on the economy? None of it. They don't seem to understand what all this means. And yet they run around like I don't know, like scouts. I mean, trying to impress a crowd.
Now, if you listen to the panel on CRTV, one of the myths they put out there was the fact that all that Ambazonians youth they need is employment. It's employment. I'm sure you all listen to them. Employment is just what Ambazonian youths out there need to lay down their arms and get. And then as I listened to them, I was wondering, have they forgotten? Have they forgotten that we have 2 DDR centers, one in Bamenda, and one in Boya. And we have seen the same youth that they picked up from the battlefield roasting corn by the roadside for lack of jobs. Some of them arrested for moving to Douala to sell funge. Oh yeah. Are these the jobs they are talking about, Barrister John, roasting corn by the side of the road? I'm sorry, Barrister John, I think you were muted that. Go on, please, Barrister John.
I'm not muted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What I was saying is that this debate is not even important for us. Our new panel brought a very interesting debate, which is what do we do when La Republique starts breaking down?
We will get there. We will get there, Barrister John. Let's just finish with this segment and then we'll get there.
I am answering the question. They have broken down economically. They have broken down economically. They have nothing to offer anybody. They think that they can still deceive us and come and say our youth needs unemployment, our youth need this, our youth need that. Listen, our youth are already busy to restore their country. They are fighting to restore their country. We don't need them. We don't need their employment. We have a job to do. Get back our country in its totality, and our youth will be employed almost 100%. Our youth are making sure that we have our country. When we have our country with the type of resources we have, there is no Amazonian youth that will go unemployed. And there's no Amazonian youth that will complain. Look at what is happening in Kuwait. Look at what happened in Libya before the West got jealous and destroyed Libya. Listen, La Republique can give employment to its own youths. Their own unemployment is more than 70-80%. Let them content themselves with their youth. They are crying because they are losing 65% of the GDP. They have lost it already. We were contributing 65% of the GDP of Cameroon for Cameroon to live on and feed their people and ignore us. Now it will not happen. They have a job to do. Give jobs to their own people. Forget about us. We will be ready. We are ready, or we have been ready to block our borders from them. And our youth are all now employed in fighting to make sure we have our country back. So we don't need them.
All right. Let me have Barrister Mbese around over this subject, the umbrella, the employment, and all that you can imagine.
Yeah, let me take off from where someone started earlier. Zasas was referring to Mr. Osman and what he said about Camp 2 and Southern Cameroon. That guy actually was called Pion. A Pion is a screw. These people, like people regard us as Pion, screws, nothing but screws to be used. Because I don't see anybody who has ever saved the Republic from West Cameroon and not ended up in disgrace. Foncha died in disgrace. Munabu betrayed him, died in disgrace. Iti Egwe died in disgrace. Frundi now lives in Yaoundé. And so on and so forth. And let us take it to what they were saying. Mr. Prime Minister, be he Dion Gute or any other person in that position, does not go out and make speeches for the sake of making speeches. Their dots are properly dotted. Their T's are well cut. They don't go out and fool like you and me. They don't adventure in speeches. So when the Prime Minister goes there, surrounded by the whole government, they were recording what he was saying. I make the statement he made in the pen. It was the voice of God. And to make that fact, you know that the Republic is a government. They are very, very good at damage control. Since then, I heard them repeat that story. They have not even mentioned it again. They have not said no, it was a mistake. They have not said they don't intend to say that. Why? They are embarrassed. Because he himself cannot explain. Those things come, some of those things, I'm a religious guy. Some of these things come to you, unknown to you. Do you remember that woman in Kumba after the Kumba shooting? When that woman walked up to Atanganji and said, one of order. Do you think that woman planned it from her house? No, she didn't plan it. God came through her. You remember? Again, Wilbur. When Wilbur went to Parliament and said, look, you can bring all the army, you can do all this, you will not defeat us. It has come true. Is Wilbur even still very active? No, but that message has been sent to them by God through the human being called Wilbur. Again, down the road, Tassang said, look, come Monday, you will see what on southern Cameroon. And today, Ghost Town has become something permanent. Did Tassang plan it? I don't know. But through him, yes. So let's look at those things. This poor woman who was ranting over there, there's nothing new in what she's saying. She's just one of the several. We have not seen any of the government ministers in a position who has come out publicly to support us. None. So there's nothing new in what she's saying. There's nothing new in what Diengute is doing. Or what Diengute should be known by now is that he's coming to the end of his own journey. As if Philemon accompanied him from Yaoundé to Bamenda. Really? He cannot live in Bamenda himself? He cannot live in Banso? So what makes him think that he's going to be better than Philemon Yang? Of all these people who have saved, I can all remember Moshonge, which still goes down to see his house in Tiko, in Limbe. Otherwise, they are on their way out. God is our guide in this revolution. The revolution is non-stoppable. They are running out of the ocean. They have always wanted to use us as crews. The Bamili case in block supported the SDF because they wanted to use Nifrundi. Now, after they cannot use him, they've owned the SDF. The Bamili case supported Frontier, thinking that you come and liberate them from Ahijo. When they did not get him liberated from Ahijo, they killed Abendon, thinking that they were killing Frontier. And they abandoned him. They want to use us. They fight their battles. They want to use. They know all those developments. It is not by error. No. They did not destroy marketing board. They did not destroy Cameroon Bank by error. They destroyed it by voluntary destruction. They stole the marketing lot property and all those who auctioned those things. They were thieves. They want to incapacitate us to a permanent base. And then finally, if Mr. Diengute or anybody in Yaoundé thinks that was so stupid that we cannot see houses being burnt in Basso live, in daylight, while he's talking there in Bamenda, talking peace, receiving some statues and so on, then they must think that we're more stupid than themselves. So, Ambazonians who are on a journey of no return, who will get to the next segment of what to do when their pieces fall apart, will address.
All right. Thank you.
We'll get there. By the time we get there, we will not need even to be defending about it. They would have been gone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's move to another subject here, which is quite important, which is sending quivers down the spines of politicians and leaders in French Cameroon. Now, over the weekend, former U.S. Undersecretary of State for Africa, TIBOR NAGY, put out a tweet that became the subject of discussions over their television sets in that damn country, and this is what TIBOR NAGY put out there. We all know how Southern Cameroon crisis will end. Now, this is a message that the Republic of Cameroon would not want to hear. Anglophones will gain their rights. Now, I love that word, rights. Now, it says, either in a genuine federation or a breakaway state, whether weeks, months, years, or decades, it will come. Human spirit, like the lions, is indomitable. Cameroon government should come to its senses Ladies and gentlemen, this is what
Very
was
good.
boiling over the weekend, over all
Very
the
good.
television sets in La République du Cameroon. But Mr. John, I see you really laughing there. You wanted to say something about it. I start with you.
Yes, sir. That is the tweet of the year. Before that tweet, there was one that he actually nailed the French. He said he cannot understand how the French will not support Anglophones to get their rights. The French have a better interest than supporting La République du Cameroon in their Scotch Earth policy, which they will not win. If you tie those two tweets together, you will find out, you will come to believe that that is the thinking of the United States. Because TIBOR NAGY just handed over his note up to 3 weeks ago to the new Undersecretary for African Affairs, who's a white woman. I just forgot her name. Look, this is a man who has handled Cameroon business for a very long time under Trump. He was working for a government, so he could not do otherwise.
And remember,
So
you also
anybody
served as an ambassador. I mean, so
Yes.
I think
he
bureau
served
chief
as
in Douala.
in Yaoundé. He served in the
Yes.
U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé, and he was an ambassador, I think, in Liberia, and so on. So he knows Africa very well. I take his tweet very seriously. He didn't have to do this tweet. He did this tweet because of what he knows. Apparently, he is telling everybody in the world, including La République, that Southern Cameroon will decide their fate, and their fate is what they will decide. And that word federation was just put in there to pacify La République du Cameroon. He actually meant a breakaway state. Because Cameroon has not been able to do anything in 4 years. In fact, they have lost the war, and they are refusing to accept the fact that they have lost the war. TIBOR NAGY is a U.S. diplomat. Even though he is just about 3 weeks out of work, he speaks publicly.
He speaks the policy, what the U.S. policymakers
Exactly.
believe.
He speaks the policy of what U.S. believes. And it is rather unfortunate that some misguided Ambazonians will call him a con man, will insult him, write all kinds of things about him.
Yes.
They forget that he was working for a government. He was working for a government.
Yes, and Barrister John, I support exactly what you said there. I have listened to some audios and read some tweets out there of some Ambazonians going out of their way to attack TIBOR NAGY. I think they just don't understand how diplomacy works. No one person, the Secretary of State in the USA, will not stand out and decide what happens in Cameroon or in Ambazonia, but he can speak the language that policy makers in Washington, D.C., they believe in, and that is exactly what he is saying out there. Now, there was another tweet in which he responded to. Let me see, I think the tweet is here, and this is what he said. This lady, Melissa Anna, had responded to TIBOR's original tweet. And Melissa wrote, "Thank you, sir, for this concern. But I will still say that you accepted the golden status gift of President Paul Biya. This makes him think what he is doing is right. So you could not listen to your idea of ending the war. Now you cry out again because Amber Boys now have RPG." Now TIBOR came in there and he responded. I am surprised that he actually did. And he wrote, "Golden statue on diplomatic visit is expected to exchange nominal gifts. The item is with the State Department, Africa Bureau, and valued less than $100. Can you imagine how cheap La République de Cameroon can be. They give a whole diplomatic visitor a gift of $100. U.S. diplomats cannot accept expensive gifts as go to jail. Ha! Yes, claims. Unbelievable. Dr. Mungwa, please come in there. I see you are hungry to say something here.
Right, right. This is really exciting because I think what many people don't understand is that every government, before they want to make a policy on a region, they don't just discriminate and talk to the diplomats of their party. They'll go to all the diplomats. So it's not unusual that the Biden administration would depend on the knowledge of NAGY, who's of the Republican Party, in order to lay down the policy for Cameroon and Ambazonia. Now, just going back a little, I mean, the fact that TIBOR NAGY mentioned France, I think there's a good reason for that. If you know the GDP of France is, or the external debt to the GDP of France is 115%, which means that what the goods and services that France can produce every year is actually lower than their external debt, which means that effectively France is a poor country. And you cannot keep on funding wars overseas using money that you don't have. And who are the countries that hold these debts? You have Britain, you have the United States that holds a chunk of it, you have the Netherlands. So France is, on a short-term basis, they get the money, but long-term, you have to pay back these debts. So France has to think very carefully how you're going to pay back these debts if you don't work with Ambazonians so that you can have some of the resources that they have in order to make money and pay these debts. That's what TIBOR NAGY was telling them. So these statements are not isolated. They understand the economics behind it because they know France is effectively a poor country. And to sort of, and further to that, I mean, you cannot imagine you have a poor country and they're supporting another poor country, and that poor country is trying to fight us. It is like, I don't know whether I know you guys have taken aeroplanes before. They call it the airline rule. What is the airline rule? It says that in case of a depression, whenever you have mass that drop, put it on your face first before you help the guy next to you or your child or somebody else. La République cannot even help itself. How does it think that it's going to manage us when it cannot manage itself? These are the issues on the ground, and they are very, very fundamental. You can't hide it from anybody. La République cannot offer jobs to its own citizens. You think they are going to bring an employment to Ambazonia? Who are you kidding? These people technically are below our standards, right down from 60. We have all the information to prove that. When our engineers started working on the Tico Douala Road, they built a bridge there with the help of USAID. They were building composite concrete steel bridges. Our engineers, one of whom I know, you have people like Mr. Chief Ajua Alemandi. Those are some of the early engineers. When the Francophones saw them, they could not believe it, that you have Africans actually building bridges, designing bridges, and they were building a composite bridge at that time, which is technically was quite advanced. And the same thing goes to the PWD. You saw the maintenance workshop. They understood supply chain. They understood maintenance culture. And that's why they could maintain those equipment. From Kwakwa to Fundong, they had caterpillars. They had bulldozers. They had graders. They had compactors. And I saw them when I was a kid. You had trucks that would water the road to make sure that there isn't dust. But where are they today?
Comrades,
stripped us of all that.
Thank you, Dr. Mungwa. The question is, and I will pose this to Comrade Oliver and Barrister Mbeza. Do tweets like this make any meaning to La République du Cameroon without corresponding action from these Western powers? Comrade Oliver, please.
Yeah, thank you, Secretaries, for that question. Actually, that tweet is a very important tool. And the way I really think that Ambazonia should fall on it and take advantage of it, run with it. How we do that is use that in our diplomatic circles with other world leaders and countries, so that if they so that they can begin to reflect on their policy against towards La République du Cameroon, because that tweet does send some chills in the nerves of the leaders in La République. No doubt about it. It does do that, but it cannot go any further than the American policy that begins to shift towards finding a lasting solution by bringing La République to the negotiation table. So, and this threat, I really think that Ambazonians should sit and re-strategize our diplomatic efforts, and that should be done now in a close room, and so that we begin to approach, give a certain group of people, and take the different big countries, the world powers, and set groups of 2 or 3 persons that will focus on a particular country, and then follow up and develop a diplomatic relationship with them, and begin to see how we can have them influence La République and bring them to the negotiation table. Because at the end, we have to get to the negotiation table. That is how the conflict ends. That's what every other conflict does end. So,
all right,
that, I think, is a very key thing for us to do.
Thank you. We are quickly running out of time here. Barrister Mbese, please take 1 minute to give us your take. Do tweets like this really make anything? Do they move La République du Cameroon?
They ought to move them. First, we have to start by ourselves. We have to learn to understand diplomatic language. Very often we miss a lot. In administration, particularly in the American administration, there's something they call continuity, and there's something they call break. As far as the Cameroon policy is concerned, NAGY is from the Trump administration. He's going out. The Biden administration is coming in. There is continuity there. And let me explain how I came to this. I followed the hearing, the Senate hearing of the person who was replacing him. During the Senate hearing, what did that woman say? People missed that point. They didn't even follow it. She said, in quote, "For now," he said, "for now." And then he repeated, said, "Take my words, for now, we still recognize the boundaries of Cameroon. For now, we still recognize the boundaries of Cameroon." That's a lot of loaded diplomatic language.
Yep, that's right.
And some of us, we made a mistake. NAGY is not any other diplomat. He's an American diplomat. Anybody standing on that podium talking for the State Department of the United States has a lot of diplomatic meaning. There are many things Americans can shout and do, but there are many things they can just press a button and some other countries will act on their behalf. They don't need to go and do everything. And let us be reminded that tomorrow Ambazonia, there will still be an American embassy in Yaoundé. It will always be there. They went there for a purpose. They didn't create an embassy there to defend Ambazonia. No, they have an interest there. So they are telling Yaoundé, you are missing the opportunity. We'll lose nothing by recognizing Ambazonia. Rather, we'll gain more by recognizing Ambazonia and you, and the Republic. So let us learn ourselves to understand diplomatic language and start falling into the trap of insulting anybody. Yes, that statue might be just worth $100 in terms of America. But in Cameroon, the guy who wants to procure that thing might have taken $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And made money out of it. So for them, it's a big deal. But they don't seem even to understand what it is. So it's not like those things they are given to Mr. Dion Guti, they will carry it probably to his house in Dian. They leave them there. That's not what happened lacks. Or no American diplomat lacks. So that is a lesson for all of us in this struggle. Especially in the diplomatic circle. Again, I say, there are so many things the Americans can do.
If I may just get your take on this quickly. We are really running out of time here. What do you make of the fact that the gift given to TIBOR NAGY was only worth $100?
No, those gifts are symbolic. Even if it was worth $1 million, there's no way a diplomat in that position would have said, no, take away your gift. He's not going to do that.
No, I'm talking about the value. The value of it, not what in the end.
What I'm trying to say is that the value is not important. Because they are not intending to give him or her money. They have money. It's all symbolic, something like symbolic handshake.
Yeah.
All right, Barrister John, I see you were trying to say something there.
Yes, yes. There's a law in the United States that a diplomat cannot take more than a gift valued more than a certain amount of money. So that gift that he received was less. It was just about or less than $100, and that's within the limits of the law. And he did not receive it on his behalf. He received it on behalf of the U.S. government, and he has left it in the African desk, in the African bureau in Washington. So all this noise about him receiving a gift from there is neither there nor it's diplomatic practice. But the U.S. government has a law that limits the amount, the worth of that gift. If that gift is above a certain amount, a U.S. diplomat will not receive it. That is the law.
Dr. Mungwa, please your take on this.
Yes, it is also applicable to corporate America. You don't take gifts above a certain, otherwise you have to report it to ethics. It applies.
Yes. Let me just have something there. Let me just explain something there. At the time of Giscard d'Estaing, when Giscard d'Estaing came to Bangui, he was the president of France. Central Africa, as poor as it was, the emperor, he went and brought 30 jars of gold. I gave it to the man. As a gift, yes, 30 of that 20 liters. No?
That's France. That's France.
Yes, yes. So the Giscard d'Estaing, but what are you giving me this for? Mr. Bokassa said, look, in Africa, a stranger does not go to another man's house and come back without a gift. Yes. So the perception that we have of gifts is so different. If you were to imagine the 200 years of American diplomacy, then the State Department should be full of elephant tusk, all the things that you have in Africa. So, I mean, those things have no meaning. Those things have no meaning diplomatically. They don't influence policy.
Comrade Oliver, please, your last take on this. 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I think they said it all. It's not the value of the gift; it's just the symbolism that is attached to it. In diplomacy, I think that's all it is.
Thank you. Summarily, from all of you, you can do this in 10 seconds. Would you take what TIBOR NAGY is saying out there to say that he is now an advocate for the Southern Cameroons?
No.
Barrister John?
Yes,
quickly.
He is not an architect.
Not an official advocate, I would say, but does he appear like an advocate for Ambazonia?
He's not an official advocate of Ambazonia, but he's a free citizen of the United States. And the Second Amendment gives him the right to say what he wants to say, but he must say it within the context of being a civilian. And he is not forbidden using his knowledge of diplomacy to make the statements he made. But those statements are not considered official statements. But as we have all said, a former diplomat who has just left office, his opinion is always counts. And TIBOR NAGY has worked on Cameroon long enough to know where we stand now. And he is telling La République that these people are no longer in their portfolio.
All right. Dr. Mungwa, please.
Yes, I think I agree with that. I think also to add on to what Barrister John just said, he's not saying that in a vacuum. I'm sure he has relevant statistics and data that he can refer to that led him to get to that conclusion. Because if it was otherwise, remember, this is not the position that he took about 2 years ago. It was almost contrary to what he said today, which meant that there has been some movement ever since he thought about us and the struggle. So he has some data that he's using in order to draw that conclusion. So I think, yeah, it's not.
All right, thank you. Balisambise, briefly.
Okay, I think what he's saying is not different from what they've been saying. They are not advocates for Southern Cameroon or for Ambazonia. No, they are advocates for peace. From day one, the Americans in particular understood our problem more than ourselves. And they addressed it in 2 sentences or few phrases. Sit down without preconditions and address the root causes of the problem. They know the root causes. They were at the United Nations. They know the strength of our case. They are not the one to make the case for us. He's simply telling them that if you don't address this thing, when they will address it, the result will be this, will be this, will be this, which they have not told them before. They know the strength of our case. But they have been telling them, go sit down, address the root causes. This is the simple word. We all know the root causes in two phrases. So he's only an advocate for peace, and he's narrowing down as he exits and see Yaoundé swore on the back on the wall. He tells them, well, go down. If you don't go down, there are only 2 options. They will go down to what they wanted, or they will get out of the whole nonsense. Which is exactly what I'm saying, go down and address without preconditions the root causes of the problem. Whether it was 1608, it was a federation, it was Funban, that's the problem. Go and address it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Comrade Oliver, please, the last word.
Yes, on that, Kevin Vicky, he is not an advocate for La Republique or Ambazonia. He is an advocate for peace. And he, granting his knowledge and experience, not just in Cameroon, but in Africa and around the world, he knows that specifically there can only be 2 solutions to the Ambazonian issue. I mean, according to him, it can only result in a referendum, in a federation, or a complete breakup of Ambazonia as an independent country. He knows those are the other 2 solutions that can happen, which is saying that the unitary one Cameroon and indivisible state status is off the table. That it's too late to even think about that. That's what he's saying.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for being part of the panel tonight. My take from what TIBOR NAGY is saying out there is that he is warning La République du Cameroon. It is time for you, if you need to go the federation way, to come up with that idea, because you don't, Ambazonia is gone. Unfortunately, that is TIBOR's opinion. I think Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, are gone past that era of a federation of a thing. We've lost so many people to even think of going back talking about that federation nonsense. We were for that in 2016. And I believe 2017 we will still have discussed federation. But after 2017, with a massacre, with a genocide, the time is over. It is gone past federation. We are not here fighting day in, day out to go and federate with La République du Cameroon. You federate with La République du Cameroon, we will end up worse than what we are today. You listen to that Osman May talking about their plan for Cameroon after Paul Biya. Ambazonia, the southern Cameroon, did not feature anywhere in that plan. And you think that we can just go sit down, discuss federation with Osman May, with Kamto, with the Betis and the Boulous, and then just go back to living normal lives? I bet you in 10 years, only in 10 years, they will start taking back everything. You know, they believe that whatever we have, they have to give it to us. We cannot take it. They have to hand it to us. So if they give us federation, they will still have those powers and manipulation to take it back. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It was a great pleasure having you. I look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, fellow Ambazonians, that was my panel. I am quickly going to open the phone lines to take a few phone calls from those of you out there. And if you know the phone number, go ahead, call the phone number. You got the phone number, I think, on your screen. And before you call, make sure that you shut down the volume of your television set, please. Make sure that the volume of your television set is shut down before you make the call. And while you are making the call, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring this very special announcement to you. Something is coming up. Something is coming up, and you'll find it right there on the screen. Unmask the genocide in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Save the date. It is coming up Saturday the 4th of December, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that is coming up on the 4th of December. 4th of December, and every Ambazonian, ladies and gentlemen, out there is expected to be present. It's going to be a grand launch of the Unmasked program that is being invented here by the interim government. Now, Unmasked program is all about bringing together non-Ambazonians, sympathizers of the Ambazonian struggle for independence, to come together and to support Ambazonia, especially the humanitarian aspect of this struggle, with donations to support our refugees and the internally displaced. So this program will officially be launched on December the 4th. It is not a draft. It is quite different, totally different from a draft program. It is a mere launch that introduces the world to this program. Those who have the potential to support this struggle, to support Ambazonians, again, talking about non-Ambazonians. And the most important role that you Ambazonians will have to play during this launch is to bring in NGOs, non-Ambazonians, grant makers, who can come in to support the humanitarian catastrophe that we know is ongoing in this struggle. Again, it is coming up December the 4th. It is not a draft. You will not be expected to make any donations. All that you are expected to do is to look around, invite corporations, invite NGOs, invite grant makers who may see the need and see the burden to come in and support Ambazonia. So please mark the date that is coming up on December the 4th. All right, let me get to the phones right now and get to the first caller. Hello. Hello.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please? Okay, what is the contribution?
Yeah, I just have a little bit of concern, particularly the chairpersons of Upemani Muba, Meme, and Fako. Why is it that they are not fighting? What's the problem? Because it's like all the time, it's like only the northern zone fighting. What are the chair people doing to mobilize their guys to fight? Oh, they don't have fighters. They should make these things to be even so that the burden shouldn't be too much on the northern zone. So the chair people and the local chair, they should do something. They should do something. They have drafted to these people. They shouldn't make the way to be so much on the southern zone. They should do something. That's my concern. And let's let this message go to those chairpersons in charge. We need to see action, not political kind of talking, action. There's no need calling generals or FEMA Just when we are not seeing the action that they are doing on the ground. And we don't want
All right. Thank you for the call. I will, however, say you sound divisive to me, and that is not the way to go, sir. Thank you for the call. All right. Let me get to the next caller. This is Ground Zero. Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your television, sir?
Yes, I've turned down the volume.
All right. May I know where you are calling from, please?
Can you get me now? I am calling from Douala, Ground Zero, from Cameroon.
Okay. What is your contribution?
So my contribution is that that woman who was standing and talking very loudly that there will not be Southern Cameroon, there will not ever be Southern Cameroon. That woman, she's feeling fat only because of the small post that the government has given her, and she is feeling as if that is all and all. She is not thinking of the generation that is coming after her. She has done her part. She is there enjoying with the small token that is being given to her from the Yaoundé regime, and she's not thinking what the other children are growing behind and what they will have and how they will live their life. So those are those enablers that when independence have been achieved, we will not want them to. We will not want to see them in our land, because these are viruses in the struggle. And I want to pass more information about the going of Chief Dr. Diongu Forte in Bamenda, because he went there and misfire, and that is misfire. There is a sense there, as I am seeing, because he is making it in the way that when he knows that it is time for Ambazonia to regain their independence, so that when we get our independence, he will come up with a statement that he contributed for the sovereignty, he contributed for the independence.
Well, did you really think he meant it? I don't think he meant that. So you think that we will now all of us go and begin to fraternize with him because he came down to Bamenda and made a statement about independence? It is action that matters. But listen, thank you for the call. We need to get to other callers.
Okay.
All right. Let's see who is next here. Hello. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling from, sir?
I'm calling from Belgium. This is Raymond.
Okay, did you call a few minutes ago?
Yes, I just want to make a little bit of contribution to your show, because I'm very pleased with what you're doing, and without you and some of the others, we would not have been at this stage where we are. So I want to say, really want to give you a high five for what you're doing to update Ambazonians worldwide on what is happening on ground zero. Yeah, one thing I want to say is, to cut everything short, was about what this woman said, that there's never going to be an Ambazonia. So for some reason, I don't know why she said so, or has she just decided to be non-Ambazonian? So can you highlight on why she said so? Because for me, I don't know why she said so. Thank you.
Well, I think it is simple. Everybody, Ambazonians in particular, who are serving in that regime, believe that everything starts and ends with them. And so if they have not endorsed it, what other dream cannot happen? They are in the position of power. They are making their money, and making money particularly at the backdrop of this war. And how else do they show that they are for the regime? By coming out and making statements like these ones. However, we think Ambazonians are smart enough to know that lackeys like this lady, whom after this regime we have nowhere to go, they know. They don't say it because they mean it. They know they are coerced to say it. Thank you for the call.
Thank you, Secretary Chris. Bye.
All right. Okay, let's see who else is calling here. Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your television, sir?
Yes, turn down, sir.
All right, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Sweden.
All right, and what is the contribution, sir?
I just wish to take up this point. What happened to Bali today? I saw the military using human shields.
I'm sorry, you saw what?
I saw the military today using Benz things. They took like almost 200 bikes, and they surrounded their armor cars and were marching into Bali. And our forces
from where? From Bamenda?
From Bamenda, they were coming into Bali. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe you have not seen the video, but the video is out there now on social media.
Okay.
They had like 200 bikes surrounding them. That's a new strategy that Betty Asomo was talking about. That they have changed the strategy now. They want to use human shields. They want to use civilians to invade our land. They want to surround their cars. They want to use our civilians like their armored cars now.
Well, they can use civilians along our roads. Will they use civilians to enter the location of our fighters? It's an exercise in futility, I guess.
Exactly. So they are just using what ISIS used to do. They have just copied that from the Islamic State, how the Islamic State used to do, when they take civilians and then they settle in the midst of civilians, so America cannot target them. But if you see the way our boys take out the ammo car, you will still not believe. Could you believe that they could take out ammo car without our people being killed? You just need to take a look at that video, Secretary Keys, then you
I will take a look of it. Thank you for the call.
No problem, sir.
All right, let's get to the next caller here. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from? Abakwa, I guess.
Actually from Abakwa.
Okay, and what is the contribution, sir? 1 minute.
Yeah, my own contribution, I'm just surprised with Diongote. When Scapo and the agency took the Republic of Cameroon into the African Court of Human Rights, by then he was the lead counsel of that particular case on the Cameroonian side. Now, where was he when it made a statement here that Southern Cameroon on 11th of February did not even get the independence and made all that type of noise? When they took them to the Republic to the African Court of Human Rights, now, and won that case, was the ruling was in favor of the Scapo and the agency, that is Southern Cameroon. Why did he not tell the judges that Southern Cameroon had never got independent? And that case, he was there, the lead counsel. It was in favor of Southern Cameroon. Why didn't he refuse? And
well, he couldn't say it there because he knew the case would not end in his favor. He knew the facts. He can say it in Bamenda because he's not debating it with anybody, right?
No, but I begin to surprise the professor that one will come to tell lies because he's in Cameroon. Why did he not refuse that particular case? And that ruling was in favor of Southern Cameroon, that the Republic...
Yeah, they lost the case. Again, that's what I'm saying. He couldn't have said it there.
The damages done to Southern Cameroon, and to rebuild back all what they have destroyed till death, and to dialogue with us and to see that all those things are given. I wonder whether Diongote Cameroon had ever done all that as of that ruling that was in favor of Southern Cameroon. He had the ruling. He was the lead counsel, and he had all those documents. I don't know what I want people in this government. I don't know what is really wrong with them. You know, it's a big shame when I got Diongote saying that. I just laughed at me. I just talk to a man like a lady like that, Ashley Kilo. Between 1975 and 1980, when the father had a new city hotel, they called it, was the nightclub there. Many a time we'll go to the tea time down. She was in the lodge. Nobody could down with her. She was just ruling nobody could deal with her. Then just she was left alone. That one makes her to what she is being intelligent because no guy could even run behind that particular Sherry Kilo. And she knew, and we always talk with her, that girl, what happened with the father. To the father, and she always, I don't know what some people want to go to this government, they think that people, some of the people, we are not still alive to know some of those things that happened and what they have been doing. Between 75 and 80, this particular Sherry Kilo, she was one of those who lived there because the house was just by the side of that hotel. During the tea time, there was one man they called one Pamumu who was always dedicated. If he did not dress very well, he would not. When we dress fine and enter with, and we were rockers in those days who could even dance with her. She's making noise now. I don't know.
All right. I want to hope she's hearing you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the phones are ringing and I need to get out of here as soon as possible. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
I'm calling in from the Northern Zone.
Okay. Go ahead. What is your contribution?
Yeah, I want to appreciate you for the wonderful work you're doing. I really thank you for your sense of judgment and discernment. When a previous caller said it's only the Northern Zone that is fighting, I really thank God for that spirit of discernment. That was an evil seed that was about to be sown in our midst. As for Kilo, she's a lunatic because the father was a prosperous businessman in the days of the Southern Cameroons. Where is the company of the father? Now they want to.
You're right. That's a very good question we're asking. Yeah, the father had lots of businesses. What happened to them?
Yeah, that is it. So they are closing her, blinding her with that small post, and she comes to talk trash. She will live to see the Federal Republic of Ambazonia independent. She'll be ashamed. Yeah, so as for the rest, we leave it in the hands of God because He's the one fighting this battle. So nobody can fight against it. When I watch John Gute and Philemon Young, I look at them as, very stupid people. I can't imagine that these are very learned people. Look at what they are doing. It's childish when they know the truth. And thank God, the Holy Spirit will be arresting them one after the other, and they'll be revealing what is in their hearts. The Bible says the heart of man is desperately wicked. Above all things, who can know them? More grace and more grace to your elbows. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Remain safe. Okay, I will take two more callers and I will call it a night. All right. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mezam County, specifically in Bamenda.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yes, I wanted to lay emphasis much on this Anglophone elite in Yaoundé. You know, they are in the business, they are in the market. When we keep on insulting them, we make ourselves fools instead of focusing on what is very important. They know, even that lady who has just spoken, that Kilo that has just spoken now, they know that we are gone. They are deceiving those Francophones. That's how I call them. They are stupid. We Anglophones are smart. You don't expect them to come. They are looking for their Gary. They are there in Yaoundé. They want more posts. They want to squeeze money from
What makes them feel that they cannot make their Gary as Southern Cameroonians in a free and independent state?
Yeah, for the moment, let them be leaking the oil. That is what they are thinking for the moment. They are wavering over opinion, but in their heart, the deepness of their heart, I've been in the field or on the ground. I hear what people talk, their own relatives every day in their own homes. They know they have been dispersed. They don't love them for what their utterances. That does not consider the fact that they don't put in mind that we are gone. As the simplest, even a mother of even a mother of even 80 years, 90 years, we know what more of a landed woman So please, we should not focus ourselves on people who don't know what they are doing. They are mainly deceiving, who are leaking oil, and they are mainly deceiving those from the foods. They are dooms. All they don't do, they know. Even when he spoke here, he said something. It was a reality. It was not forced to say what he said here. It was something premeditated. He knew what he was saying. They are playing a kind of a game. So they are only waiting for the time to come. So please, we should focus very much on what we have to do concerning what the Osman may said. That anytime from now, anything can happen in Larab. We should try to elaborate on that and see how we can, work hard to raise money to block our borders. When time comes, that happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, I get the last caller now, and I call it today. Hello. Hello. Can you turn down the volume of your television, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I still hear a background noise.
Okay, I just turned it off.
All right, yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling actually from Ground Zero.
Yes, precisely what town, sir?
Actually, precisely in Boya.
Okay, all right. What is your contribution?
No, I just heard you made a statement, so I wanted to ask you a question, like giving it as an answer. Because you asked whether most of these Anglophone elites, whether they can be comfortable having a future in a free Amazonia.
Right.
So the question I wanted to ask you as an answer to that is, can you tell us the value of an ENAM qualification in a free Amazonia? I think to me that answers it. The value of an ENAM qualification in a free Amazonia.
The value of an ENAM qualification in a free Amazonia. Maybe you open up a little bit on that to let me know what you mean by that.
Now, what I mean is most of these elites, so-called elites, they are not our representatives. We never voted them. Most of them are they have left ENAM, and ENAM is a French institution that was actually created before the independence of French Cameroon. So it's a colonial institution that trains our so-called elites and their elites. So tomorrow, these people know that they have lost it. If we have a free country, they won't have a place. Because we won't, our SDOs will not go through, and our county heads will not be products of ENAM.
Well, we will not have anything like SDOs. We don't have anything like what again, district or divisional deals, other nonsense we deal away with. That's a French system of government. It's not Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah, that's the professional certificate most of these people have. They have professional certificates that have trained them. Those certificates, those qualifications have trained them for particular positions.
Right.
A francophone or an ENAM trained SDO is an official. Is a I can't even call it administrative official who commands the forces. Who won't have elected officials. So automatically they won't have a place. That's why they are fighting tooth and nail to have.
Yeah, you are correct, because they can't stand elections anywhere in Ambazonia and win. There is no way they can win any election in Ambazonia. Thank you for the call.
They know yeah, you're welcome.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will call it a day here. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in and being part of the broadcast. I look forward to coming back to you. But before I go, I'd just like to remind you of what is coming up December the 4th, which is the launching of this En Masse program. The launching, En Masse is not a draft. It is a launch of a program that can bring non-Ambazonians together to support the Ambazonian struggle, especially the humanitarian cause of this struggle. And so please, we are asking every one of you out there, especially in Europe and USA, you know of NGOs, or any other organizations, companies that can support humanitarian initiatives, please, we're expecting that you will contact them and appeal to them to join us in this launching. If you again are in Europe, that is all you need to do. You need to be inviting them and bringing them into this event. We believe that after they listen to us, they will see the need to assist our refugees, the internally displaced also. That is all what this en masse event is all about. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Before I go, also let me remind you for the fundraiser which I did last week. It is important you all know that the total amount came up to $6,400. $6,400, and the target was $5,000. Thank you. Thank you so very much for being so generous, for those of you who chip in something. We're going to be coming back to you every month, ladies and or once in 2 months, to do those special fundraisers for ABC. I'd like you to know that without those fundraisers, we cannot keep or maintain ABC, especially for those on ground zero. The diaspora can watch ABC on the social media. Ground zero doesn't have the data to watch ABC on the social media. That is why, for those of you in the diaspora who can support, we urge you to continue to support, to make generous donations to ABC so we can stay on the air. Thank you. God bless you all. I look forward to being back here in the days ahead. I am Chris Anu, and good night. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Amazonians, it is about the slow but sure depletion, if not stopped. Please listen once more. This is the moment to rise up and save what remains. Like Pontius Pilate, the Vice Chancellor is fast trying to wash his hands. Amazonians, if God forbid we fail in this war, they will take back everything they have allowed us to manage. We must remain steadfast or lose the war. They sold our institutions and our resources for positions, for money, for power, and for influence. Why we fight to recover it all? We must not allow such enablers continue selling us. We must neutralize their plans, and if need be, neutralize them too. From today, we declare an end to these permanent military, gendarmes, or police checkpoints in all of Amazonian streets and roads. It is therefore incumbent upon us to stop tomorrow's murder today.
This is the state of the struggle with your anchorman Chris Anu, Amazonia's spokesperson.